Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Class Books with Rashad Mitchell. Let's get into the Life and Spirit Study Bible. 2 Samuel chapter 6 and 7. Verse 7, chapter 6. And it reads, The Lord's anger burned against Uzzah because of his irreverent act. Therefore God struck him down. He died there beside the ark of God. The Lord's anger. God struck down Uzzah because David and the high priest had not assigned the Levites to handle the ark in accordance with God's command. God had ordered that no one was to touch the ark, the symbol of his presence and majesty. Uzzah's action grew out of his ignorance of God's word, or perhaps an insufficient fear of the Lord. Uzzah is an example of the inherent dangers in having a zeal for God without knowledge of God's word and ways. David's plan to bring back the ark to Jerusalem. Uzzah's desire to steady it when it teetered on a cart demonstrated a zeal for God's kingdom. Yet at the same time led to a careless attitude toward the standards of God's sacred word. Ignorance is no excuse. God's inspired revelation expresses his will, regarding all of life must be followed by those who claim him as their Lord. Verse 12. Now King David was told, the Lord has blessed the house of Obed-Edom, and everything he has, because of the ark of God. So David went down and brought up the ark of God from the house of Obed-Edom to the city of David with rejoicing. Ark to the city of David. David brought the ark to Jerusalem and transformed that city into the worship center and capital of Israel. This time, he followed the Lord's instructions and had Levites carry the ark. Two of David's greatest achievements as king centered around the city of David. His formation of Israel into a strong, unified nation, with its capital being the well-fortified city of Jerusalem, the establishment in that central location of the worship of the Lord as Israel's greatest priority. Verse 20 says, when David returned home to bless his household, Michal, daughter of Saul, came out to meet him and said, how the king of Israel has distinguished himself today, disrobing in sight of the slave girls of his servants as any vocal fellow would. Disrobing means Michal felt that David had behaved in a manner unbecoming to the king of Israel. Disrobing means that David had laid aside his royal clothing and appeared in a simple tunic, such as slaves wore. Chapter 7, verse 12. When your days are over and you rest with your fathers, I will raise up your offspring to succeed you, who will come from your own body, and I will establish his kingdom. I will establish his kingdom. That means using the voice of the prophet Nathan, God established his covenant with David. Verse 16, your house and your kingdom will endure forever before me. Your throne will be established forever. Your kingdom will endure forever. God's covenant with David is fulfilled ultimately in Jesus Christ. Verse 18. This is going to be the final one. Verse 18. It reads, Then King David went in and sat before the Lord, and he said, Who am I, O sovereign Lord? What is my family that you have brought me this far? Who am I that you have brought me this far? The Lord did not give David his covenant promise because of David's merit, righteousness, or good deeds. Rather, it was established out of his mercy and grace. For the sake of his word, the glory of his name, the destiny of his people, Israel, knows who will be the salvation of all nations. David accepted God's promise in humility and faith. So that's it for the night. I'll be talking about God's covenant with David in chapter 9 and chapter 11 tomorrow. So that's it for today's show on YouTube channel. So then, talk to you tomorrow.